Hello, welcome to Trend Settings episode 86.
Nailed it.
Nix. Let's get 86.
Pick up sticks.
I've never known what that actually means, but
Means
I've
get
heard
killed.
it's a saying. Does it really?
Yeah, nixed. 86 nicks. To
Oh.
kill someone.
Nixon.
It's like rhyming slang to kill someone.
You learn
Right.
these hard
Wow.
on the ground
I did not know
facts
Gonna
at
86
Trend
it.
Settings.
Wow.
And then
Trend
nix it.
Settings where we don't talk at the same time, and we have super
Sorry, Dad.
Oh, boom.
and we have super conclusive and informative intros where we talk about that we're group settings, and this is the show Trend Settings. It is a podcast available everywhere, and we are live. Get in the conversation, and also my name is Ali.
My name is Chris.
I'm Jono.
I'm Nick Koo.
Trend Settings, where we go into what's trending every week, and this week was a hot week. I was looking at all the stuff we got. And I'm like, this is interesting. This is all interesting. None of these topics. I'm like, this is boring. It's all hot.
There's no topics
It's hot
about
stuff.
women. That's why.
No, wow.
See.
That's not even true at all. One of them's about dating.
Peppa Pig's a woman.
Is he
It's a girl.
It's a pig.
It's a girl pig.
Female pig.
really? I never connected those.
Have you
dots.
never seen the show?
These are the kind of facts you get on this show. Trend setting, hard facts, Peppa Pig. Now, first up, we got Kanye, and then we've got something else, and then we've got Korea and South Korea, and then we've got Facebook dating. What was the one I forgot?
Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig is second, but Kanye West is first. I believe Nick's doing it, but Chris might be doing it. I have no pen, so I couldn't write down the order. If you're wondering why I'm so lost, I know about the topics. The order's just a bit skew-if in my head.
We'll get there.
So who's first? Kanye.
I'm first.
You're Kanye.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm doing Kanye.
Nick
knew
is
it.
Kanye.
Hello, Nick.
Hello. So Kanye's come out again. He's released more Dragon Energy
Hello.
onto the world. He had a very interesting interview with TMZ. Actually, I don't know when it was, but maybe a couple of days ago or
Yeah.
something.
Mm.
He said some very interesting things.
He
I'm
did.
going to quote. It went for about, the clip that I saw you guys sent me was like half an hour, but I think it was
like an
cut.
episode.
It was cut, yeah.
That was...
so-
Yeah, it was cut, but that was like the full clip.
yeah, right. Because I think there were bits of. I'm wondering because I was trying to find one with the full interview where I think Candace Owens was in there as well talking, but I
Who's
didn't
she?
see. She was. So you remember later in the end of the clip there was a black girl that came in and sat
Yeah.
next. So that's Candace Owens. That's the girl that he quoted in the tweet saying like we should all think like how Candace Owens thinks.
And he always refers to her as like, Candace got the facts.
Yeah, and she's very famous for being a black conservative, essentially.
She was the person I liked least about that whole video.
Oh.
She was really annoying.
Well, she didn't say anything. Well, we didn't see it. We didn't see her say anything.
We didn't see her say
Yeah.
anything.
So, but yeah, so it's interesting listening to Kanye talk in this video. He's obviously got a lot of ideas, but it's very clear from watching the interview he's not an articulate person when it comes to. He has sort of a stream of consciousness that he just sort of gets out in a way. He has a lot of feelings to process, and to some degree, it seems like he's just trying to figure stuff out. At least from what I can see.
Nick, what you don't understand is that musical genius, when someone that is a musical genius says something, you shouldn't question it because he might have a reason that you could understand or clarify in English.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand.
Wait, what?
All right, but look,
That's basically what he was saying every time someone challenged what he
Yeah.
said.
He's like, why'd you say this? Look, genius is genius.
Yo.
so he goes onto a lot of tangents and different things. Like I think if you've ever seen Kanye in any kind of interview, he tangents a lot. Like he kind of just follows that stream of consciousness. Whatever comes to the top of his head, he just kind of
It was a
follows.
lot of fun
It's-
stuff.
There was, I remember if you saw an interview with him on, what was it? I think it was on Kimmel. Remember how Kimmel blew up with Kanye over a tweet or something, and then there was this sort of talk. Do you remember that age?
Yeah, and then they hashed it out.
Yeah, they basically hashed it out on TV, but then you saw like Kanye on TV, and he was just like, he wasn't even looking at Kimmel. He was just talking straight down the camera and that kind of stuff. So it was interesting seeing how he thinks.
He's
He's
whack.
not. It's interesting how he puts things together. Anyway, so it kind of came onto the topic of so he's basically he said this quote which was interesting. I think this is the one that everybody sort of jumped on, where he said the quote was, "When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice," he said with a chuckle. Like you were there for 400 years and it's all you all. So, and this is the one everybody kind of jumps on because they say, well, is he saying that slavery kind of didn't happen? Is he saying that people got themselves enslaved by choice? Like, did they jump on the boat and just come to America
at any time?
Yeah, they could have just like, hey, So everybody's obviously, the black community obviously is up in arms about it. They're saying like, well, that's ridiculous. Why is he saying these things? will.i.am went on Piers Morgan's like talk show in London, and basically was saying, I don't even know who this guy is. I don't really understand what he's saying. He's like saying like, why would he say something dumb like that? But if you kind of look at what he was trying to say, and this is what I was trying to think about when he was talking about today. I'm not trying to say that I know his motives.
I know the mind.
I understand Kanye. What I think he was trying to say, I hope, this is hopefully what he was trying to say, is that the 400 years he's referring to, because slavery in America was about 200-ish years. Like, it got abolished in about 18...
Abolished, quotation marks.
Abolished? Yeah. Oh, right. You're being woke. Mm. All right. So it's
sure.
Yeah, in around I think 1860 or something. I can't remember what it was. Like, they got rid of the
Civil War.
The Civil War, basically, to abolish slavery.
Emancipation.
Yeah. And so he's talking about, I think what he's talking about now is that he was talking about the mindset of people is still focused on slavery, as in like, and the Candace Owen goes into this about, in her talk, the one that Kanye talks about, is that she was saying that black people play too much of the victim and should sort of move on from that, and just like, nobody who exists now has ever suffered from slavery.
Yeah.
So why do we just not move on as a community and become just individuals?
Yeah. Or it seemed like he was almost talking about everyone's mindset is kind of to be a slave, right? Which is his whole point, which is free thought.
And this is where it kind of gets a bit like, he's sort of mixing a lot of metaphors where he's talking about like, you're in a prison, we're all in a prison of the mind, like, and he's saying like, why can I just not express free thought? I just don't want to be boxed in by people telling me how I should think. And this is where everybody starts piling on. And, like, to some degree, I kind of agree in the sense that, yeah, like, if you're a black person in the entertainment industry and you're just a black person, there's some people who just they think you should follow that narrative. I'm not talking about the oppression thing. I'm just saying, like, that whole narrative where it's like, if you're a black person, you're automatically, oppressed. Yeah, in America. And he's just like saying, well, do we have to embrace that narrative? Like, can we just think for ourselves and figure that out for ourselves, whether that's actually true or not?
Yeah.
And so this is where everybody's getting a little bit like mad at him, because it's like, well,
I don't think anyone has a problem with that. I think the problem is he said
he worded it really poorly. I'll give him that. When I heard it, I was like, whoa, that was a tough listen.
And he's also kind of being a victim of headline writing.
Yeah.
In all the headlines writing is Kanye West said slavery was a choice.
Right.
Which, yeah, he does technically say that.
Yeah.
But after watching the whole thing, I don't feel like he actually said that.
No, you're right. When I saw it in context, I was like, okay, I get what he said it in the worst way possible, but I get what he's trying to say. Like, it's just not, he just worded it so poorly in a way that it was so clickbaity to just grab that and just go, okay, we can make this a very sensational headline.
And if you watch the Twitter feed version of it, which I actually did because that was what you sent in the group chat first, I was like, oh man, what a dickhead. But watching the whole thing, I was like enthralled the whole interview. I thought they were bringing up heaps interesting stuff.
There was when the other black guy started getting up and they were having that shouting match across the room, I was like, oh jeez, this is getting like super heated, super quick. In that, like, you can see the whole room are just like, they're all now just focused on this shouting match between Kanye and this other dude.
Yeah, and he's like, stop yelling. They're not going to listen to us if we yell at each other.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he's right.
Yeah. And so it's interesting because I kind of liked listening to him in the sense, like, I kind of get the vibe of what he's trying to go for. He's like, okay, let's stop hating on each other. Let's try and figure out a way that we can all move together as a group of people.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying. Like, we're trying to be friends with Trump, not hate on him, because hating on him is not going to solve anything. Like, we need to kind of figure out how to work with him.
Yeah, I think you're right. His strongest point was that we need to come alongside other people.
Yeah.
To talk with people. Like, we can't butt heads and slam against each other. And what no one's even seems to be talking about, which the whole second half of the interview is all about, is like, I want love to conquer all.
Right. And he says that multiple times.
Yeah, and no one's even talking about that.
My favorite part was like, dude, and it's like, I know we disagree. I know we're like, but can I just come over and give you a hug? And I was like, it's like, you're not going to beat me up, right? I'm going to come over there
That
and
was
give you
really
a hug.
funny. Because he actually seemed genuinely scared the
Yeah.
guy was going to hit him.
You're not going to hit me, right?
Yeah,
don't
then the
hit
guy's
me.
like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to hit Ye on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, on live TV.
Which was a tacit admission that he would have. That he
Yeah.
would have if he wasn't there.
I could totally understand where that guy's coming from. Van, the other guy.
He
as
was
well.
much more articulate.
Yeah, he knew what he was
He,
talking about.
he like sounded like he'd actually thought about this for longer than a week.
Yeah, it's new, and but I mean, I gotta give Kanye. He's got a lot of balls to say what he says, like to be as open as he is about his ideas. Like,
Do you think so?
And
I don't think it
dude,
takes
it's
balls.
like you have this like the amount of like people jumping on, as you can imagine. Like, I mean, there was
the amount of attention that he
Yeah.
gets.
is
that a bad thing in his eyes?
well, maybe not.
Is it
I mean,
brave to do something if it gets the outcome that you desire?
now that's the cynical side of it, where like Will.i.am was saying the same thing. He was like going, if this is some sort of publicity stunt, it's like it's awful, and I hope it's not.
Well,
I hope he's genuinely looking for an answer.
His new album is coming out. Right.
Right, and that's obviously very coincidental, isn't it? So we don't know.
But he's not wrong about the free thought stuff.
I'd completely. I mean, look, I'm obviously a person who kind of agrees with some of the ideas that like Candace Owens, I know, so I've heard of her before, and I think some of her ideas are not terrible. But I think that I think the thing is that he's just trying to figure out if what she's saying is true. I think is probably more than anything else.
I think that here's a massive prime. I think that Kanye is really, really smart. Like, I think he's a genius. I think he's a great, great artist. But I think here is a prime example of why artists go away, lock themselves away, create an artwork, like create 55 drafts, and then put it out into the world. This is why artists don't just go and talk and say whatever's on their mind.
He's not a spokesperson.
This is why they create and show a creation and get their message through that. Because this does nothing.
No.
This achieves nothing except publicity for Ye.
Sure.
And it's interesting what they cut it out of the short version, which was annoying, but the guy who got up at him and got the famous kind of minute tweet tirade against Kanye that made him seem like, oh, he slam dunked on Kanye. Like, they cut out the part where he's like, you are what influenced me to be like a better person, like with conceptual stuff and like thinking stuff, and I was always on your side, which is funny because I think a lot of people were like that before Kanye started not doing music and just talking
Yeah, right.
like,
right.
without making a song.
Look, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'll be honest, I'm not really a Kanye fan. I've heard a couple of his songs. He makes interesting music sometimes, but I'm not like a person who knows his. I only found out what Yeezys were a couple of months ago.
right now.
I always thought Yeezys were really ugly shoes, but I don't know.
There's
agree.
something to them.
I'm a
Have
fan.
have you seen the Yeezys and the Thanos next to each other?
No.
And I'll find
yeah.
it. Yeah, give me a sec. Keep talking.
Anyway, so some other highlights too were like he was saying. I think one of the funniest things he said though in the interview was talking about like how the election was a class thing, like, and like Obama was Obama was too classy. That's why he lost. Like the Democrats lost the vote.
The funny thing is he's literally quoting white conservatives.
Right.
So the things that he was saying are the points that people make against
Sure.
Black Lives Matter.
Sure.
So, we got to stop thinking about it like this. One of the points he made was that black people don't care about black people getting shot until it's a white person or white cop who does it.
Right.
And you were saying, like 700 people killed in Chicago. He's literally quoting stuff like ideas that you would hear on Fox News.
Yeah.
And then the guy who was shouting back, Van, he's got a good point. It's like, no, you just don't hear about it in the news when we complain about.
Right.
Like, when we try and do something about that, it's not like it's newsworthy.
I know, but like I said, if he is joining, but you're right, like he's only joining the conservative. It sounds like if he's joining the conservative front
It
at
doesn't
this
sound
point.
like he's joining anything or thought anything
Right.
through. It sounds like he's repeating the stuff
Sure.
that he's heard.
But I
'Cause
mean,
he
that's
was
the thing.
repeating like little bits. He's like, Trump. He said at one point he said Trump's reduced regulations on businesses. What? That's not something he thinks about.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
He's literally just heard someone say that phrase, and it was kind of swirling around in his like blender of a mind.
Like I said, it's not. It's not like it's something that it's still kind of new in the sense that if he's flip sides politically, like just gone to the other side, then obviously he's not. This is the criticism that people are having today, especially from conservative outlets. So we're just saying like, look, you can't look to Kanye as being like the arbiter for like conservative thought. Like he's so fresh at this, and there's like you can't say like if he was on one side or the other.
But you're analyzing it like he actually did something.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just talking about.
Just went up
I am just talking about the fact that what people are slamming him for is not as bad as what they're saying it is. I'm just saying like he has some interesting thoughts. I said I just liked the interview.
He hasn't.
What?
None of those thoughts were original. None of those thoughts were his thoughts.
No, what are you talking? You're talking about? I'm talking about the slavery thing. What are you?
Yeah, no, that's literally lifted out of white supremacist arguments. They used that argument to justify the fact that blacks deserve to be slaves, because they were saying if they had wanted to rise up, that they wouldn't have been slaves for 400 years.
That's not what he said at all.
No, but the quote, the way that he said it, it's an idea that's lifted from that.
From the white supremacist.
So my argument is that he's heard a bunch of stuff from people who have thought things through, but don't necessarily have the same motives as he has.
Yeah.
And he's been convinced by what they said because they're really good at talking.
Right.
And he's mixed it all together, but he doesn't really understand the angle that they're coming from, because the reason they come up with those arguments is to actually discredit things like Black Lives Matter, is to discredit the idea that like slavery was evil.
Right.
And he's just repeating it. Like he hasn't actually thought any of this through. He's just someone who's good at talking, probably that Candace chick, has talked to him, convinced him.
Sure.
And those ideas are swirling around his mind. You can see them like coming out like bits at a time. They're all kind of jumbled up because they're not really one solid thought.
Sure. Which is a pretty obvious.
But he's like, that's not thought. That's what the van guy was saying. It's what you're doing is an absence of thought. And every time someone questions what he says, his only argument against it is, well, I'm just trying to be free.
Right.
That's not an argument for anything.
No. I'm not saying that anything that he said in the interview was particularly like it was a stream of consciousness. He was clearly trying to. You could see him trying to figure stuff out live in terms of somebody comes with an argument, he doesn't have an answer for it. I get it. He's just, you're right. He is talking about.
I just felt like you were analyzing it like he actually said something.
Oh, well, no,
I think
no.
You just heard a bunch of sound bites. You can make a random thing that just pulls sound bites from someone.
What I see in this interview is a guy just trying to figure it out.
It reminds me of me when I was 17, and all I've had always in my life is like conservative viewpoints, and I've never thought about anything for myself, and then all of a sudden I read a couple of articles, I'm like, oh, and then someone will tell me an idea and I'm like, whoa, and then I talk to my other friends and I'm like, well, guess what, guys, blah, 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 blah. And I just spew out things that I've heard and that I'd never thought about until now. So I feel like it's documented in his music. Like he advocates for black people's rights, he has, but now he's come across some new data, I don't know, this Candace chick or he's just read a couple things online that say, oh, maybe the slaves were there by choice, and now he's like, whoa, okay, I'm gonna say some crazy stuff.
I mean, look, if whatever you want to think of what Kanye is saying in this is, I don't know, like you can believe he is just a guy just trying to figure this out. And like I said, you're right in terms of that somebody has fed him some information and he's just trying to run with it. But he is just trying to figure out the point. As in like he's just trying to go, okay, I've been told this. It's like what you were saying, like it's like a new Christian, right? They suddenly come in, they're super enthusiastic, they have this amount of information, but they haven't done it for a really long time. So it's like, okay, well, I got to take talking points from somebody, so this is what I'm running with, and this is the idea.
But we don't look to that person.
I applaud him for the fact that he's trying to see if there is another angle to this. Like, if he's been told one thing his whole life, and then suddenly he's deciding, okay, maybe there's something else. why not check?
I would
check
applaud
it
him
out?
if he'd actually taken the time to think any of it through before he started telling everyone about it.
Absolutely, check it out. Think about it.
That's a
Research it.
responsibility.
But
of
then
saying
every-
anything.
But
Don't just
every
jump-
celebrity does this anyway. Like on both, like on.
That's not a. That's
Come on,
not-
no,
that's not a
no,
justification.
it's not a
You
justification,
just
but they
said you
do it.
applaud him for doing something.
I
don't
applaud
think
him
it's
for no.
applaudable.
What? He's not. Like you can't just say like, oh well, you're gonna get the guy for like making up talking points and taking him somebody else, and then you say like, well, is he not allowed to is he not allowed free thought? Is he not allowed to explore an
Everyone's
idea?
allowed to think.
Yeah.
You just, when you have a profile that high, when
Yeah.
you go and say stuff, people actually care what you say.
Right.
Why wouldn't you take the time to think through to the end point all the things that are just swirling around in your mind before you actually?
I don't know. Why did he get up at the VMAs at what's it called?
But
And
why
then
are
tell
you
Beyonce?
applauding that?
Because it's like he's doing something different. Like he's not towing the company line. I guess it's
That'd
just
be like applauding him for putting out music before it was actually finished.
some people do that as well.
It's his last 2 songs.
But are you applauding him for that? That's what I want to say. Is there anything worthy of being praised?
I think
about doing
He has been. It's like it's right since he put out that like MAGA stuff that he put out. Like he put like he loved. Well, I don't know if he said that he loved Trump, but he put the MAGA hat up and he said that he liked Candace Owens. Like, you know, people have been piling on and said like, you got to stop like doing this stuff. It's going to ruin your life. It's going to ruin your career.
Oh, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't applaud him for it. I think that's an interesting choice of words. That's
Right.
all I think. Like, I don't think anything that he's doing here is.
I'm
praiseworthy.
interested that he isn't back down. Like that's like most people would
Again,
just apologize straight away.
Not backing down without having thought through your point is a classic example of stupidity. Like, everyone can think of a loud idiot who's really loud and very convinced about what they say.
Sure.
There's nothing praiseworthy about the fact that they won't back down.
Okay.
It's just them not being able to take like a counterpoint.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
someone who's like, it's really like as if there's definitely examples, or at least tropes in TV, of someone who's like a loud idiot,
Right.
and they're really loud, and they're really wrong, but there's nothing praiseworthy about the fact that they refuse to be listened to anyone else.
Right.
I think that he is. I think that he is listening to other people as well. I think that his song that he put out, Yay vs. the People, he put out a new song. It's clearly not been working on it for long. There's another video of him sitting in a room chatting with people, with T.I., who's also on the song, and then they're just talking, and he's like, let's make a song. Just say that exact same thing. And the song is a conversation between them. Kanye saying, oh, I'm just trying to think free. T.I. saying, no, you have responsibility. Like, you can't just ramble. What about, like, this white supremacy? You don't stand for this sort of thing. What are you talking about? And Kanye's like, oh, free love, whatever. So I think that he's not just saying, he could have easily just put out a verse and said, yo, Trump's awesome, you all need to listen to me, da-da-da-da-da, but he's not. He's allowing, he's putting space there for the thought and the idea that he's not perfect. He's starting a conversation.
I shouldn't say he's an idiot. That's like, I'm not saying he's an idiot, because he's actually a genius, because he has the traits of a creative brain, right?
Yeah.
Which is the inability to like stay, like, they connect things that other people don't necessarily think are connected, right? And they put it all together and they bring it together. That's like the actual like defining trait of a creative mind. It's just like, I don't think it's a
This
awesome thing.
specifically.
Yeah. This is Candace Owens. Yeah.
Like, when I see that, I don't go, oh, that's awesome. I just think, oh,
I do think,
what?
I do
It's
think
just
you are
noise.
being a little bit hard on him, because in the thing he does, like, he wants the other people to talk and he wants them to say things against him. So it's not like he's being belligerent, but as soon as they say something logical, he does kind of trip to another topic, because he's like,
Pivots.
oh wait,
I can't engage with that thought that you
I'm
just
on
put me.
opioids. Like, it's, like,
he's-
this stuff,
I'm just
like,
trying to be free.
Yeah.
No, hang
No,
hey,
no, no, look, look.
I don't want to listen to you. I'm just
But-
trying to be free.
I
I'm
know,
just trying to
but
free
it's
my
like
thoughts.
it's the same.
No, Nick, I'm just trying to free my
He hasn't figured
he
everything out
doesn't
yet.
do that. He said he just kind of doesn't respond.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
well, he
just,
lets the
change
person
it-
finish
yeah.
his-
He
And
hasn't
then he goes, well,
he
I'm just
hasn't
trying to be
figured it
free.
out yet. Look, he's clearly trying to figure stuff out.
And that's good. You got to figure stuff out, but you don't have to do it.
You're right.
for
He probably
everyone.
doesn't have to do it on live TV, but
Yeah.
it's interesting that I think he's taken the stand that he has. That's
It's
all.
not like the side of that he's trying to represent has no points.
Yeah.
There's like no way that every black person in America is gonna be on one side of politics, because usually like the traditional split of politics is conservatives economically and like people who are more liberal economically, right? That's how the left and right are technically supposed to be. So when he said that for that brief moment, Trump is reducing regulations on businesses, which is better for them. I don't think for a second that he actually understands the implications of that. But there's no way that every black person in America would disagree with that point, right? It would be split.
Yeah.
But most black people vote for the Democrats, and I think they do take it for granted.
This is like the crazy thing about all the... I know, all right. We'll just...
Hey, after 30 minutes on your topic
there's a lot of
which was this actually?
Poop diddy scoop.
Obviously following a lot of black conservatives, it's like it's interesting that all the name calling that goes around. It's like if you're a black person and you're a Democrat, it seems fine. If you're a black person and you're conservative, that's where they start calling you things like Uncle Tom or whatever it is like that. And it's like, well, I can understand. This is why I said it's sort of interesting that he's putting his career on the line, especially in like an entertainment industry. Like everybody's basically a Democrat. So I mean, at least they say they are. And in fact, in Hollywood, they have a group of like actors and stuff who get together secretly as conservatives, and they call their friends Abe, because they know that if they ever come out as conservative, like they won't get work basically. So that's why I'm saying it's a bit. That's kind of why I'm saying like it's a bold move. Like you're not going to do this unless you're like sure there's something there. And he doesn't. I think one of the things he said in the interview was like, well, we had Obama and that was great, but what exactly changed? And that's what he's trying to figure out. Like, what can we do as a people to change? Like, as a group of people to change?
Yeah, what's going to be the best for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a massive problem.
Yeah.
Something that will require loads of thought.
Sure. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying, like, this is what he's trying to figure out.
I would say someone like Colin Kaepernick, what he does is an example of someone being brave in the way that you're talking about.
Right.
Because he's basically been vilified by the entire conservative media.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and
you kneel
in the way that you're talking about.
For kneeling for the anthem, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those conservative pundits you're talking about that get attacked are right next to those people who are vilifying Colin Kaepernick. So I think that's why they get attacked like that.
Right.
Anyway.
See what I mean? Hot stuff this week. Good topics. I was like, man, we could do a 2-hour episode this week. We'd be totally fine. But we're not going
for the
to.
100th.
Yeah.